Hi, Minna Viner. Hello, my friends. Hopefully, I pronounced that right. Welcome back to Singer Dad Reacts. My name is Josh, and I'm actually here to do a new reaction to a new artist. I'm excited to listen to Aurora. Aurora was actually recommended to me by Lynette Pascua. Hopefully, I pronounced your name right, Lynette. Lynette's been a long-time subscriber to my channel and an avid supporter of my content, and there were several of you that actually recommended Aurora, but this particular song and performance was recommended by Lynette. The song is entitled Through the Eyes of a Child, and as I do with all of my reactions, I did some research about Aurora. One of the things that I have decided to do to improve my reactions is to do a little more research on the song and read the lyrics ahead of time and kind of try to formulate an idea of what it's really about prior to coming in. So I'm not spending a lot of that time at the beginning going through and analyzing the lyrics and trying to figure out what the song's about. So that's one of the things that I'm going to start doing. But first of all, since this is a new artist, I wanted to kind of talk about her. She was born in 1996, which again makes me feel old because I could be her dad. My wife and I married in 94, so she could be my child. But it sounds like she had a similar childhood as far as just her development as an artist as it relates to Angelina Jordan. So it sounds really similar to me. So she began just playing with the piano around 6 and just started figuring things out and had a really good ear and a sense for the music. And she began songwriting at age 9, which is pretty crazy. What really also fascinates me about Aurora is that she comes from Norway. From a lot of her childhood, she was in this area that was kind of up in the mountains, where she described the place as there are almost no cars and the roads are small and bumpy and there are lots of trees everywhere. It's very quiet and the internet is bad. She also compared it to the fictional land of Narnia. So that really was intriguing for me to kind of hear about her childhood growing up in this kind of isolated place. And it almost kind of reminds me of my childhood. I don't know how much I've talked about it, but I grew up in Alaska, actually. And it, as you would guess, is a lot like that. There's a lot of trees. The roads are very bumpy. And you're just surrounded by wildlife and not a whole lot. And I think my hometown had like 2 stoplights, or 1 at one point, and then we got 2, so it was a big deal, right? So I can really relate to where she grew up and what that's like and how it kind of shapes you as a person, and it kind of ties in with the song itself, actually, because I wanted to kind of quote her from this article I found, and I'll put a link in the description to this write-up. But she was quoted as saying, "I care a lot about people's inner child, and I am very determined to never lose my inner child. It's about the older you get, the more you see, and it's kind of like you miss the times when you thought everyone was nice and that everything was nice, because it's hard to know all the darkness. Also, we have lots of light, and I know that as well, but it's kind of like wanting to go back to the innocence and see the world through the eyes of a child." So a couple things really stood out to me in this quote, because it's hard to know all the darkness. So this is very wise of her to actually understand that. It means that, and I agree with this, that as you grow up and you enter into your teenage years and kind of learn a little bit more about what's out there, you kind of lose a lot of that innocence, as she said. And it doesn't mean that you're doing things to take away that innocence, but it just means that your eyes are opened to a lot of the other things in the world, the darkness, she calls it. The evil, the not nice people, however you want to say that, right? So, but as she says here, but we have lots of light, and we need to never lose our inner child. So I think she realizes that there is darkness in the world, but we also have lots of light, and we can retain that inner child and look through the eyes of a child at the things around us and the people and things like that. So I really am excited to see this performance, and this is again Through the Eyes of a Child from her debut studio album in 2016, All My Demons Greeting Me as a Friend. The lyrics are, "World is covered by our trails, scars we cover up with paint. Watch them preach in sour lies. I would rather see this world through the eyes of a child. Through the eyes of a child, darker times will come and go, times you need to see her smile, and mothers' hearts are warm and mild. I would rather feel this world through the skin of a child. Through the skin of a child, when a human strokes your skin, that is when you let them in. Let them in before they go. I would rather feel alive with a childlike soul, with a childlike soul." Then there's a little hey oh a section there, and then "Please don't leave me here." So yeah, I really feel like she has a profound ability to create imagery and write lyrics that are really different and engaging. This whole "through the skin of a child," right? She's tapping into our senses because we all kind of remember those things. Those are some of our most precious and lasting and impactful memories, right? Are when we were given love from someone as a child. When we have those moments of someone special to us, or someone, showing us affection or love, those things really have a lasting effect and an impact on us. So she's saying here that when a human strokes your skin, that is when you let them in. Let them in before they go. So take advantage of those opportunities to let others in and not push them away, but to be like a child. Because if you've watched a child play and be introduced to new children, they accept them wholly. They're like, hey, someone new to play with, and they just go and play and find something they have in common, or that they like to play together, or build something, or just be goofy, or whatever it is, right? Those are some of my favorite memories, actually, as a dad, is playing with my boys. And I used to do like all kinds of different things, like the bucking bronco. So I would, be on all fours, and they would be on my back, and I'd be kind of giving them a horsey back ride type thing and bucking them around, and not too hard, but just enough to kind of, make them feel like they might fall off, and things like that. Or just building puzzles with them, or reading books, or playing games. All those things, those are the precious memories for me, and of being with my children, and being as a child, trying to think as a child and behave as a child when I was around them. I always tried to do that, and when I read them stories, I would do all the voices. They loved to hear me do the voices for all the different characters in the books. Drove my wife crazy because she would put them to bed on an off night when I had to travel or whatever, and then I would come back and she'd be like, "You're killing me with the voices. They want me to do the voices." So, but I understand the childlike soul. I've always kind of felt like I have a childlike soul. So let's get right to the song. Again, if you haven't already, or if you're new to my channel, if you could please click on the subscribe and the little notifications button there to be notified of any future Aurora reactions or any others you might be interested in. I really appreciate that. Thank you all so much for your support.
The world is covered by our trails, and scars we cover up with paint. Watch them preaching sour lies. I would rather see the world through the eyes of a child, through the eyes of a child. Darker times will come and go, times you need to see her smile, and mother's hands are warm and mild. I would rather feel the world through the skin of a child, through the skin of a child.
Wow. She's a special artist. So expressive with the way that she performs. You can see, like, I love how she's like very expressive with her hands, like she's kind of trying to paint the picture of what she sees and what she's visualizing. But you can see that she's determined to keep that inner child, and that she still can clearly see how a child sees the world. And she realizes that we can't lose some part of that. The lyrics are just beautiful. Her voice is like really lilting. It's a good word for it, I think. It's a very pure tone. It's right on the pitch, and yeah, she's got a beautiful voice. I'm going to go back just a little bit here. I want to listen to that again.
And mother's hands are warm and mild. I would rather feel the world through the skin of a child,
So she touches her
through the
face.
skin of a child.
Nice open sound.
When a human strokes your skin,
Those harmonies.
that is when you let them in. Let them in before they go. I would rather be alive with a childlike soul, with a childlike soul. Hail
whole section, that whole Heyo section, it's almost like I've seen with my children, where they're just kind of freely singing different vowels or whatever and not really thinking about what they're singing. It's kind of, she closes her eyes and she just sings those, and that's what it seems like to me. Is like that the inspiration for that section of the song came when she was just letting her inner child kind of speak through the words of the song. She didn't need flowery words through that section of the song. She just needed something that showed kind of this escape into our childlike existence, our childlike thoughts and inner self, right? That's what came to me and touched me from it. I'm loving this. So powerful, so unique, and yet very poignant. I want to go back to that. The skin. Notice how she says that first line where she talks about the skin, and then she pauses. And then she continues to sing about when someone touches you, that's when you should let them in, right? Let's see if I got it right here.
With a childlike soul,
Did you hear her flip up into her head voice right there? So she does it fairly seamlessly, but you could kind of hear the slight change in the depth of the tone, and there's different things you learn how to key in on, but she definitely flipped up into her head voice right there for that last little part. But I love the choir behind her. I love when singers bring in a choir and they have these rich harmonies and they have those voices, in the background. It adds something special to the performance. Plus, I guess I'm kind of biased because that's where I've gotten a lot of my singing experiences, singing in choirs, different types of choirs, a cappella choirs and jazz choirs, show choirs, and things like that through the course of my time with singing. But yeah, this is a masterpiece. Right there, you see? She's very open. It's very...
Don't you, please don't leave me here.
So this is part of why I'm a little bit different than other reactors, in that I'm not going to stop it as soon as they stop singing. I love to watch to the very end to see how they interact with the other performers, the accompanist, the band, if that's involved, with the audience, because you can see their personalities and a little bit more of them in that context outside of when they're performing. So I love to see that as a glimpse kind of into, who they are and how the moment played out, what they experienced as part of that. So let's watch that again real quick, and I'm going to point out a couple things I noticed here at the very end. So look at her. She's just very shy and unassuming. See how she's kind of rumpling her dress right there? She's just a little girl. See that expression? She loves what she does and the opportunity that she has, and she's very content with being able to sing for people and share her feelings and all of that. I mean, you can just see kind of her true personality come through. It's awesome. Yeah. I love her voice. I love who she is, and she's definitely gifted. You look at how early she started writing songs, and as you may have learned if you've been watching my reactions, I like to start early on in an artist's career and then chronologically follow them through their journey. That's part of what I enjoy doing. But as I looked at her career, this is fairly close to the start of when she really started releasing things to the public. There's I think a handful that were before this, Runaway and a few others. So I may go back at some point and watch some of those earlier ones, but I felt like this one, based on just because Lynette, I think, is one that has watched a lot of my reactions and understands kind of who I am and what I enjoy. And I have to say, Lynette, that you were right on. I love this performance. I think it's the perfect one to start with for Aurora. It was very touching. I'm going through a little bit of a tough time because I got two of my boys that are off in college, and it's hard to have them be away, and I really miss them a lot. And I miss spending time with them as children, right? It's such an easier time when they're children, and you can just play and do the simple things, and life is full of that innocence and simplicity that Aurora is talking about here, right? But I hope that the things that my wife and I taught them, and the things that we experienced together and the love we showed them, will carry them through and will allow them to look through the eyes of a child as they look at the world around them and at themselves, right? When they look in the mirror, they can see the potential that a child sees within themselves, and they can see the goodness and the kindness and the tolerance and the hope that can come through looking through the eyes of a child. So, very profound message, and she has a great voice. I commented on several different things regarding her voice, but I really want to hear more and kind of hear different styles and different songs and different types of runs and utilization of her registers, her chest and head registers, her mixed voice, all of those things, to get a better idea of her voice. But I love it. It's a very pure tone, and she has quite a bit of control as well, similar to Angelina actually, as far as the timbre. So there were times where she was open, and there were times where she kind of put the sound more kind of a little bit more nasal. So it came through a little sharper with that kind of a ringing tone to it. So she has the ability to change the way that her voice comes through, which is impressive for someone at her age to be able to have an understanding of that. So I'll cut this short, but please let me know in the comments below any other Aurora songs that I would love that hopefully follow the same timeline. So kind of from the same album maybe would be ideal. And that way I can kind of follow her progress chronologically and go on the journey with her. And as I say at the end of all of my reactions, you need to know each and every day that you are special, that you can accomplish your dreams, and that you are loved. And I hope that you feel that through my channel and through my reactions. And I hope that you know that I'm thinking of all of you. I don't get to interact with each and every one of you, but I consider you friends. And I hope that I can have some impact on your life for good. That is my overall goal. My goal is similar to that of So-hyung's, I think. That's part of why I love her as a performer. And also, of course, Dimash. They have similar goals, and that is to utilize their gifts and the things that they've been given, the opportunities that they have for the good of others and to help others and to touch the hearts of others. And that's my goal as well. And so with that, thank you very much for your support. And I mentioned it already, but if you haven't subscribed, if you could please click on that and click on the notifications, little bell there, I would appreciate it. There's also information down in the description that related to my Patreon channel, my merchandise store, which has a Music Lights the World apparel, and also my social media accounts and things like that. So anyway, thank you very much for your support and for watching, and take care.